Awesome, right, we don't have very much time together tonight, so I'm just going to start off by telling you one thing about me that pretty much sums up my whole personality. Are we ready for that? Yeah. I once got so bored that I changed the security question on my bank account so that whenever I ring them up, they have to ask me, why? Oh dear God, why? To which I legally have to respond, you know why? Right, whether you think that's funny or genuine mental illness is probably a good guideline of how much you're going to enjoy the rest of my set. What else? I'm also quite a guilty person. I'm too young for it, but I've got a lot of guilt that builds up. Although I think for the most part it is misplaced guilt, you know. Like the kind of guilt that I imagine you might feel if you were sat in the building opposite the Twin Towers during 9/11 and you just lost a game of Jenga. Wasn't that my fault? I always worry slightly about that. But yeah, I do feel guilty about lots of things, and I think a lot of them are kind of really stupid things that I'm still guilty about. Like, I'll give you a prime example of this. When I was 5 years old, and bear in mind this was 17 years ago, I still feel guilty about this. This is really stupid. I was in a nativity play, right? Rock and roll.
Hey!
Yeah, nice. I basically, at 5 years old, in this nativity play, I got so nervous that I threw up all over the baby Jesus, right? Which was kind of awkward, but it simultaneously made it a very unorthodox Christmas, because that year Jesus got gold, frankincense, and yeah, the one proper joke in my set. Basically, I've only got one more thing to tell you, really, but it's a story about the time that about a year ago, just over a year ago, I accidentally became racist. Because why wouldn't you tell that to a large room of people? Basically, just over a year ago, I was on a night out with my friends, right? And we were having a few beers, we were having fun, we were chucking shapes. It was all good. It was all good, harmless fun. Then, about 2 hours into the night, two of my friends, my friend Nick and my friend Sam, get into this massive steaming row, right? Just hurling abuse at each other in the middle of the street. Now, I don't really want to deal with this, but I'm kind of forced to by the fact that all the rest of my friends have done what real, true, honest friends do and fucked off. To leave me to deal with this issue. So I managed to kind of separate them and get them away from each other. Now I turn to Sam and I go, I'll deal with you in a minute. Although in hindsight not quite that sexually aggressive. Now I then turn to Nick and say, I'll just tell him basically to head back to his flat, get some rest, and I'm sure he'd feel better about it in the morning. Now that's a fine story, but I need to tell you two pieces of information about that story. The first is that those weren't my exact words to Nick. The second is that my friend Nick is black. And those two things are important because at that moment 3 women walked past us to hear me shouting at a black man to go home. Yeah, I don't know if you ever had that awkward moment in life. But weirdly, like, kind of away from what else I've been talking about tonight, that doesn't make me feel guilty because there was no malice behind it. I didn't mean anything by it. The one thing that I do feel guilty about in hindsight is that it was Halloween and I was dressed up as a pointy-headed ghost. Yeah, finish on a Ku Klux Klan joke, Phil, why not? Anyway, that's been me. I'm Phil Boothman, thanks very much. Good night.
Phil Boothman, everybody, played a cracker on his very first time here. Please keep that round of applause going. There is a very slick gentleman waking his way from the back of the room. His name is Benedict Farce, and he's going to be your next comedian. Ladies and gentlemen, Benedict Farce!
Hello.